Come to find out, this doesn't come with the USB 3 cable in the box, and it actually says it not on the page prominently. You actually have to hit one of the small numbers that has the footnotes, go all the way to the bottom, and it says USB 3 cable required. Samsung doesn't include that as well either. And what's interesting with Samsung, once again, not bashing, like I said before, I'm not bashing anybody on here. I'm just trying to be more of a consumer advocate, I suppose.
Now, I got to say, one thing I do thoroughly enjoy about the internet is that we all find out different things at different times to different degrees. And this gentleman uploaded this video a few days ago, and I got to say, I've been complaining about this for months, if not years now, where one, the lightning connector on an iPhone up until the year 2023 was just ridiculous. And then two, when we finally do get USB-C, you segment the data transfer speeds between the Pro and the regular. So the regular gets USB 2 speeds and the Pro get USB 3. The one thing this gentleman kept saying, I think he said it a total of 3 times, is that he's not bashing anybody. And I got to ask, why? No reason to bash a particular person that isn't an employee at Apple. But when it comes to, I'd say, leadership, the executive staff, somebody made that decision. Somebody made the decision to keep the lightning connector on the iPhone until last year. Somebody made the executive decision to segment the data transfer speeds between the Pro and the non-Pro. Somebody made the executive decision to include a USB-C cable that's only capable of transferring data at USB 2 speeds. These are millionaires, if not billionaires, making these decisions that impact us. Why not bash them? That's how things change. And this gentleman has 88,000 subscribers, and I think I have 500 and some change. But I got to say that the way things happen is if we say something about it. If you aren't satisfied with something about the product, voice your opinion. I understand he says that he wanted to be kind of a consumer advocate, which I sometimes feel the same way. But other times I'm just like, no, those guys are maliciously acting towards their consumer base. Now, I do have an iPhone 15 and I do have a Galaxy, so I do not have the Pro or the Ultra versions of either one of these phones. But I got to say, if these millionaire, if not billionaire executives are doing things to the devices to make them worse, whether it's Android or iOS, I want to say something about it. So they both have USB-C ports. The Galaxy does transfer data at USB 3 speeds, so I don't complain about that. And the point that he was trying to get at, now that I'm a few minutes into it, after my rant that always happens when I talk about things like this, is that the cables don't transfer data at USB 3 speeds. And even though, yes, I agree, it would be nice if they did include those slightly more expensive cables in the box, I can understand why they don't. And in my opinion, the people who plan on buying the phone probably already own cables such as this gentleman himself that are able to transfer data at USB 3 speeds or faster. And, you know, these companies have the data. They can read into your devices and see what's going on and know, hey, 3% of people, which is still millions of people, transfer data to and from their phone on a regular basis. Is it worth the additional 10 cents per cable to put it in there? Which, when you expand that into the millions of phones sold, it really does start to add up. And I'm not trying to justify their behavior. I feel like I always have to say, I understand it. I just don't agree with it. So yes, if I had a USB 3 cable that came with this phone, I would have been ecstatic. Like, oh great, another cable that I actually want to keep, versus the USB 2 cable that came that's just sitting in a drawer. Along with, actually, I do like the USB 2 cable that came with the iPhone simply because it's braided. But yeah, it's at this point only used to charge the phone. I would never, in my right mind, use that cable to transfer anything to or from the iPhone or any other USB-C device. So I get it. I don't like it. And I think the reason I get so passionate about stuff like this, where we have these mega corporations making decisions that impact civilization, like not just individuals, but no, Google, Samsung, Google, and Apple impact civilization. And literally today at work, I was sitting at my little desk, doing what I needed to do. And I hear a gentleman in the next cubicle over, talking to another coworker, and the other coworker was a new person, so he was like, "Hey, make sure you get everybody's phone number, so that way if something happens, we're able to get in contact with each other." And the new coworker has an Android device, and the coworker that's been around for a while has an iPhone. And out of this gentleman's mouth, who is probably in his late 50s, if not early. No, he's probably in his let's say his mid 50s. Yeah, let's say he's in his mid 50s. He said, my phone is allergic to those Androids. And I'm just like, so I got up and I did say, I didn't take it personal, but I think I'm just more annoyed. But I did get up and I said something, polite, just kind of in a joking manner, like, "Oh yeah, Android's a more superior operating system, blah, 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 blah." And I might actually talk to him some more tomorrow. But what did he mean when he said that? It was every time he gets a text message from an Android device, whether it's just a one-on-one message or a group chat, his experience is different than when it's him texting another iPhone or him texting a group of iPhones. So why is that an issue? It's an issue because his overall user experience is degraded, but it's a bigger issue, which he as the iPhone customer isn't even thinking about, that, wait a minute, my company could do something to fix this, but they aren't. So I'm going to blame the people who don't have the same phone that I have. And that's the problem when it comes to, in my opinion, Apple and their customer base, that they focus on a problem but don't address it to the people that it should be addressed to. And I use this as an example because, as I said a few moments ago, it impacts civilization. Their decisions impact civilization. This gentleman is, like I said, in his mid 50s, if not late 50s. I'm in my 30s. There are kids that are in their 20s and teens that are all impacted by the same problem. And these billionaire executives are making decisions to not improve the experience for their own customers. They are expecting what just happened today, that this grown man in his 50s said, my phone is allergic to Android devices. That's what they want. And heck, yeah, it's on video. Tim Cook saying it to one of those reporters when he was genuinely expressing a concern to this gentleman. The reporter expressing a concern to Tim Cook, like, "Hey, sir, I can't send certain things to my mother because he has an iPhone and the mom has an Android device." And Tim Cook's response is, "Buy your mom an iPhone." And he chuckled, and so did the room. But that's really when somebody should have had the courage to say, "Hey, sir, I know we all just laughed, and I know you just said that you don't hear your customer base really saying anything about this, but it's a problem, which is why you haven't acted on it. It's a reason to keep your customers locked in to your device." And of course, because, they could go on and on and on. But the point of all this is to say, yes, it's unfortunate that they don't include a USB 3 cable in the box. I understand it, don't agree with it, and I guess I should say, really, I don't like it. And these trillion-dollar companies with these billionaire executives are making decisions that impact civilization. So it's completely fine, completely warranted to bash when what they're doing is hurting you, hurting me, and hurting all the people that we know.